if you didn't post it. So if you can't buy into that process as an artist, you're kind of moving backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand that content is king.
The old label market too. Instagram is not where you want to be living anymore. It's all TikTok. Literally TikTok.
TikTok too, all of it, social media period. It's all
exactly
that.
right. The content that works on TikTok is not your music. All the musicians' content that's working on TikTok is their comedy videos and skits and stuff like that. It's not even their music. But if you have no presence on TikTok, you might as well just stop, because that's really where everything's going now. Your Instagram is great, that's irrelevant.
What I love about TikTok though, it allows some of our greater artists to get their music heard and by the younger generation, and they may not even know that song, but it blows up on TikTok, and next thing you know, our older artists catalog jumping again. You know what I'm saying? I love that.
Yeah, Patrice Russia, she
Absolutely.
went viral.
Yes.
Cameo has gone viral.
Fleetwood Mac, like it was a lot of them. So yeah, I love that. You know what I'm saying? God, I think God has one of the big songs on there now. So yeah, I love that. Like, and now they can go and tour off of that. Like they can recharge everything else if they wanted to.
Yeah. You know, I would like to think that there's a lot of diversity in this room, from producers to singers and even songwriters. So Whitney, I'm going to ask you something about copywriting. How does an artist go about copywriting their song?
She said some of you true.
So there's I feel like this is a theme for me today, an ongoing theme. There's a website for that. It's actually, it's the copyright office. And really it's intimidating, but it's really a fairly simple process. It costs like $45. I'll tell you what doesn't work: if you mail it to yourself with
That's old school.
that's not a thing.
Right.
That's not a thing. It's not a thing.
For me and
You
copyright.
actually have to go onto the copyright office and register your song. I mean, you upload the song on, you identify when it was written. You want to make sure that somebody else was involved in the making of that song, that you make sure that that other person is also involved in the copyright, so you don't get into trouble in that way. But it really is a really very basic process. You want it, if you get a deal, the label may do it for you. But even then, I've had major clients whose label did not copyright their music. So you want to make sure that you actually check to see that it's done. Yeah.
It can all be done right there in the city.
Right there on the cell phone.
It's the music business. It's not the music friendship. It's not the music cousin, the music family. It's a music business.
Right.
And you got to keep that in mind. Like it's about leveling up and making some money.
Yeah. And speaking of the business side, I'm going to go back to the business master, Jimmy Jam here. When you look at artists out today, what is the first thing that stands out first when you look at their presentation, their website, and things of that nature? What stands out to you first that lures you in?
I have to say, one of the things I do, and I don't know, I'm not really a TikTok person, but my kids are. But I am an Instagram person. The thing that I like about Instagram is I discover so much music on Instagram because I wake up every day and there's obviously a ton of things in the feed. But I always will find, if there's one thing I like, I'll usually just follow. If I hear something I like, I automatically follow the person. Sometimes I'll DM them right away and just say, hey, I love this record or whatever. And then that then turns me on to the next thing. So I think one of the things we've heard that everybody has said is social media. And it is important because it's kind of like, my analogy was always like, the tree falling in the forest. You can make the record, but if nobody knows you made it, it's basically like you didn't make it. So it is important to get the word out, but you do it in the way that's, once again, that's comfortable for you. I don't think there's ways that make sense, but I think it has to make sense for you, the way that you're comfortable doing it. And the thing that attracts me, like I love seeing visual stuff, and if you don't mind, can I just ask the audience that's here, I'm gonna just assume that everybody is here because they love music or they're interested in doing music, but can I just see show of hands how many singers there are in the audience? Okay, thank you. Can I see how many songwriters there are? Okay, how many producers? How many people who are on the visual end of things, video makers or content creators, that type of thing? What about people that want to be attorneys or on the business side of things, promoters or that kind of thing? Do we have any of those out there? We do. The one thing I want everybody to take away from today and why this is so important is because I think people sometimes feel that you sitting in the audience and us sitting here on the stage, that that's the Grand Canyon. Like you're never going to ever get here. But it's only a few steps, okay? Now, but here's the important, the reason I say that is, and I hope when people were raising their hands, everybody looked around. You realize that the next great label or the next great entertainment company is sitting here. We have directors, we have producers, we have songwriters, we have singers, we have visual people, we have attorneys, we have promoters. They're all right here. So network with each other, talk to each other. That to me is the most important. That's why a day like today is so important, why I wanted to be here today. And thank Kjlh for doing this, because that's what it is. It's, look at us, yes, for inspiration. Yes, please be inspired by what we do. But look to the person next to you to get you to that next place, to get you up those few stairs. And so I just wanted to say that.
That's all.
Now, the question is, what attracts you first when you're looking at all of the new creatives out there, whether artists or songwriters or producers? What attracts you first? What kind of sets you? Is it a website? Is it a viral moment or anything of that nature?
I'm old school. The music has to move me. So the song, it's in the song to me. So I found Snow Allegra through a song. And so when I found the song, I went and bought all the albums. Same with Lucky Day. My assistant is the one who told me about Lucky Day, and I remember the first time I heard it, I said, she ain't that good. And I went back and listened to the album. I bought it twice. I bought the first one and then the extended of it. But the one guy that I really fell in love with, I'm a super fan, is Anderson .Paak. I had bought his album. He was doing a song called Tinted on Saturday Night Live. And I heard it, I got my iPad, I just bought the album, and I went to sleep. And I never listened to it again, and it was just in my iPad, I forgot about it. And one day I was listening to music. I listen to music at night when I go to sleep. I always have music, and it just plays randomly. And a song came on called The Bird. And it emotionally touched me. I was asleep, and I woke up out of my sleep, and I downloaded The Bird, and then I played it 25 times in a row. It literally started inspiring me to want to write. I was emotionally moved by him. And then I found his tiny desk. And then I found a live performance of him doing The Bird, and I went and bought every album that night that he made. And then I bought a ticket to go see him and Bruno Mars in Vegas because I'm his fan, I'm a fan. And that's what real music and real artistry does. And so I know that his mother was a strawberry farmer, and that his father went to prison for beating on his mom, and his father was a twin. I know all about him because once you start loving music, and Marvin Gaye is my favorite of all time, so I know everything about Marvin, and I know everything about Jovan because I'm a connoisseur of music. And most people that really love music are connoisseurs, and they want to be moved. And if you're going to do music, if you're going to sing music, if you're going to produce music, you have to be a connoisseur of music. And that's why I listen to Frank Sinatra and Joao Gilberto and Sergio Mendes and any kind of music that I can consume that is emotional and spiritual in a sense. That's what I listen to. That's how I find music.
Now, Lamar, you're on the deeply technical end of things. I've seen you again in the studio with Stevie Wonder. Tell me about that creative process for artists and that relationship between artist and technical assistant.
Well, a lot of times, Stevie's a special person, so I think a lot of artists don't really have that thing. It's either today you have a producer who makes the beat, and then the artist is just, he writes his lyrics or his or her lyrics and the melody, and they sing. Today, I would suggest for whether you're a singer, songwriter, take time and learn a piece of music software so that you can learn the language and the process of making a song. Now, you may not be great at it, but at least familiarize yourself. Today, you can buy GarageBand on your iPhone for $5. You can buy, Logic on your computer for $200 or whatever. But familiarize yourself with the technical process of making a record, and just surround yourself with the toolkit so that you're just familiar with it. There's no guarantee that you're going to produce your own songs or become a master at this, but it's important that you do at least know so that when you are with a producer, you can ask the correct questions, and at least you understand the process. If it's taking a little longer for this, for that, or why the guy's moving the beat around, and you can suggest, hey, this song is too fast, or it's in the wrong key for me. Let me be able to transpose it down to a comfortable key. So I would suggest that anyone in the music realm learn a little piece of the technical side of it.
Turn back to my label guys again, Reza. I want to know more about what to do when I'm trying to build a website. What do I need to put on my website? I've seen some basic websites that are just literally bio, tour dates, merch. Is that good? Should it be more intense?
So your website is not as important as it used to be. It should be a main central place to get all your content. We used to have these things, FTP sites. Essentially, your website should be a one-stop shop for everything that's you. Your touring, your schedule, your contact, your music, links to all your different outlets. You have to make things as frictionless as possible for fans. Fans have to work too hard to get to you and your stuff. They get turned off and move on to the next one. So if you don't have all your links in one place where they can easily access it, not only just your Apple link, you have to do all the different ones, because that guy might not use Apple, that guy might not use Spotify. He might be a Deezer guy, he might be a SoundCloud guy. You have to be everywhere. Today, you cannot hyper focus on one thing. I know I mentioned the TikTok thing, that's for your social media, but everything else, you have to be on everything. You cannot leave any avenue blank, otherwise you're missing clientele. And your whole job is to basically bring people to all one place and aggregate them. And that's your website and your social media. So everything, but most importantly, your music.
Absolutely. Amir, anything on the website portion, the digital portion?
I agree with Reza. I mean, the website should just be an information page with everything. That's all things that's related to you, YouTube links, all of that stuff should be there. It's a visual business card in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that people can find anything that's related to you on one page. Also, like you said too, having it all, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all the stuff that you mentioned, I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
Chris, before I forget, Shazam is very important too.
Shazam.
If you're not registering your stuff properly with Discover, there's no point. If you go to Chris and Chris plays your song and the guy hears it and he can't figure out who you are and how to get your music, what's the point of that? What, he just wasted an effort helping you. So
I will say this, I would, let me just say me, if I was an artist, I wouldn't put my music out if it wasn't on DSPs. And the reason being is just because what he just said. If Chris plays it on the radio and it's not on DSPs, and then a listener or a future person that may buy your music Shazams it and they can't find it, you've missed an opportunity to gain a fan and gain, just like he said, he found Anderson Pop. It wasn't Big Shazam, but he found him and it made him go dig deeper. That's what happened with Shazam, right? You Shazam an artist, you're like, what song is this? And then you Shazam it. Next thing you know, you probably download that song, but you might go back and do the whole album. And if they put out a deluxe, you probably go do that too. And then when you find out what's really dope about Shazam is they'll tell you when the artist is going to be in tour in your market. Like, and then next thing you know, you done went to bought the tickets, and you done went and bought the merch. But if you don't have your stuff on DSPs, you miss all of that opportunity. So that would be one of the first things I would do once I got my music together and it's all sounding good and everything else. Even before I presented to Chris at radio station, like I want my music to be out in the marketplace before Chris hears it. Because I've been a music director before, I would tell artists when they came in with music, and this is prior to DSP, but I want it to be a boomerang effect, right? You bring me a song and then let it have a story and then let the boomerang come back and hit me in the head. And I'll be like, oh yes, this was the song. Now I done pulled up to the gas station and they selling the mixtapes and your song is on the mixtape. Or the car next to me is playing your song. Now I gotta go back to the radio station and say, yo, we might need to take this record a little more serious, you know what I'm saying? Because now it's in the marketplace. And then I don't know if you're gonna go there, but at some point now we're talking about research, right?
Yes, research is super heavy, and they hear me talk about this every week. Like, guys, I'm looking for the research on it, and for radio stations, especially stations in Los Angeles, every second is measured. We're looking at audience reaction. We're looking at what song attracts a listener and how long, and what song pulls a listener away. If we had a totally packed auditorium and I played a song and 50% of this audience went to another room and that room was Real 92.3, I've lost on KJLH. So that's the importance of research and just making sure that the total package is together. And I believe you said earlier, if we have to work hard to find your story, to find your analytics, to see how many people are actually engaged and following you, then you've already lost us at that point.
Yeah, y'all want to win every 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, every 15 minutes.
Every 15 minutes. So this is the science of radio, right? So we get ready to give y'all the science of radio. So when y'all talk about, you hear people say, man, y'all play the same songs all day. It's not particular for you in that moment. Like we said earlier, I want you to hear your favorite song from point A to point B. I don't necessarily expect you to listen to the radio. I want you to, as a program director or music director, but I don't expect you to listen from point A to point Z. However, from point A to point B, that's like 20 minutes. Let me win that 15 minutes. I need you for that first 15 minutes. Then when you get back in your car, I need you for the next 15 minutes. Then when you get out for your next trip, and you get back in your car, I need you for the next 15 minutes, and so on and so on. That's the science. That's why you hear people say, man, y'all play the same song all day. Well, we're not really programming it for you to listen all day. We want you to hear it when you hear it and enjoy hearing it at that time. If that makes sense.
What he's saying is that most people don't like new music when they first hear it.
Right.
Most people are averse to music they're not familiar with. They like familiarity.
Right.
So it helps to have familiarity for you.
And that goes into having your record in the marketplace. I still believe in DJs. I don't care what nobody says. I still believe DJs are the most important tool as far as getting your music out there, right? And what's really dope about DJs to me is you can have a good relationship with a group of DJs, and they end up being like a little street team for you. You know what I'm saying? Telling other DJs, like, man, this is the record I'm playing, and I get the reaction in the club. So before I even go to Chris, I'm making sure all my T's are crossed and all my I's are dotted in the marketplace. I want the record to surround him. So when he comes to, or when I go to him about a record being played, he's like, yeah, man, I was sitting at the district on GS and this record came on and the girls, and my demo, yes, the demo, my P1 targets went crazy. And here you are bringing it to me. Oh, I gotta play this. I'd rather it be like that than me like trying to introduce a song to him or an artist to him that he's never heard of. When he says to me, because I've done this, I'm like, yo, I got this kid, blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, go create the story. All right. You know, I'm gonna go create the story. I'll go to the shows and do everything I gotta do so we can create the story, and then come back to him and he can say, man, you said this. And it may not take, I've worked records for, Boot Up came out 2 years before y'all heard it on the radio. 2 years before y'all heard it on the radio. And it's still one of the biggest records ever, right? So it takes time. We work records for 9 months at a time, especially on R&B panel. Like we had a Robin Thicke record over there sitting number 1 in 17 weeks. So it takes time, y'all. This is a marathon. You know what I'm saying? It's not a sprint.
Love it, love it, love it. So we're at the point in the panel, it's important for us to kind of use the collective brain trust of this panel to listen to music submitted to KJLH, artists who may or may not be in the room. We've only got time for maybe 5 songs, so I'll play maybe a minute and a half of the 5 songs if our technical guy is ready for us to play some music off the laptop. We're good to go. Asia Jolin, I'm not sure if she is in the room. Well, look who just walked in the room. The legend, the wonder, Stevie Wonder. How you doing, man? I know this man has a lot to say, and some encouraging words to the creators in the room today.
I just wanted to come and say thank you. To all the people that are up here. Jimmy Jam, thank you so much. I didn't think I'd be seeing you today. Yeah. He knows what I mean. And just everybody, thank you. And I wanted to ask a question, actually, to all of the creative people. And that is, we're in a place where a lot of what young people are hearing, young people are seeing, it's encouraging them to do different things. The words that they're hearing, the songs, the disrespect. So, look, I still believe there's a time and a place for everything. And I think we cannot let those who think they are in control of the scenario where we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to be in control of what our destiny is. Right. So we have to fix that. Yeah. Yes. I believe. So my question is to all of you up here in Responsible, just because a society says, oh, well, we should do this and we should do that, and it's okay to do that, and everything is all right. Everything is good. Everything is not good. We have a nation that was still talking about guns. Come on now. Come on. We're still talking about people celebrating getting high. People still disrespecting the woman in the words they sing. And as opposed to talking about what's in our mind, what's in our hearts, we're so busy always talking about what's between our legs. I just think that, look, we all love to do it. I've got 9 children plus mine. But, we have to fix this nation. We are the creative people. we've been given a gift. Jimmy, you know, all of you know. So as much as we know there's money to be made, there are minds being fixed. And I just would ask of you, will you all please do that?
Yeah. Come on, Stevie Wonder. Boss man. Some powerful words there. Jimmy Jam, you got anything to add to that, to Stevie's thoughts?
No, Stevie literally drops the mic whenever he talks. He leaves it right where it is. But Stevie has been a wonder.
Yes.
Truly. And you can't write the history of music without him. And he continues to write the history of music for all of us and the future of music. The other thing that he does is when we talk about, we've had some talks about streaming and all of the different social media and those things. So just remember the importance of radio, what radio does, because radio is a shared listening experience. Or when you're in your cars or wherever you're at in your homes, when that Stevie Wonder song comes on, we're all experiencing it at the same time. And it's the unity of music. And that's what Stevie has always talked about, he has always sung about. And the fact that we get to be here today with KJLH in front of all of you, and the fact that Stevie himself comes to support and to drop wisdom on us. They truly broke the mold when Stevie Wonder was created. The great thing is there will never be another Stevie Wonder, but there will be the seeds of Stevie Wonder, and we are all in. And so when he says for us to do better and think about doing better, that's what we're all going to do. So thank you, Stevie.
J.K. Stevie, you got something to say?
I just want to let y'all know one thing, because I want to be very clear. I love all of you. I can tell you that since the day that God gave me the ability to understand what music was about and to discover things from listening to the radio, from whether it be hearing Martin Luther King talking when I was 7 years old, to every single thing. The radio was like my eyes to the world. And so I was able to hear, living in Detroit, all different accents. That's why you heard the thing I did on Don't You Worry About a Thing. That was kind of me mocking those stations. I would hear the Spanish stations, and I didn't know how to speak no Spanish. But, it was like just remembering back to that. And so even when I came up with Radio Free, I remember Radio Free Europe, and I was just thinking about how with radio and through radio is where you're going to have the freedom of not just music expression, but as well ability to communicate and bring people back together. Some years ago, I was asked to sell Kjlh and be a part of a whole nother system. And the money was big. But I did say no. I wanted to carry on the legacy of John Lamar Hill, who was the owner, the creator of KJLH, and that's why we kept JLH. I just think that we can't just, talk about how we love each other and not do something like continue the legacy. If we don't do it, unfortunately, no one else will. But you know what? You shouldn't expect them to. My prayer is that, you know, the nation comes together, the people come together. But right now, as the saying is, the soul of America needs to be saved. It does. And the music we do, I've got some things coming out I'm really excited about. There's one song that I co-wrote with Ayanna Gregory, Dick Gregory's daughter, called it "If This Ain't America, Lord Have Mercy." And she's a great lyricist, and she took what I had and we put it together, and it's fun. So, Jimmy, I'll let you hear some of my stuff too. But I just want to say I love you all for real. It's not just that I'm doing. I mean, I'm talking about you all, but as well everybody on the stage. I love you, and you motivated me. You know, Lamar, you've been like my eyes. You know, brought different things to me for me to check out. Everyone has played a part, and so I thank you for that. But I want you to also know, because I feel God has given me purpose, that this body is just here, but the spirit of the Most High is who I'm to be responsible for. So let's come up with ways of really doing something about what young people can do after school. Let's create different programs. Like, let's bring arts back to schools. And let's not just talk about it. Let's really demand of ourselves and those various leaders, whether it be clergymen and women or whatever. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's not about the religion. It's about the relationship. So, you know, I just feel like we have to come together. It's not about your religion. Be whatever your religion is, and let's honor that. But let's most of all honor the most important thing, that without it we cannot exist, and that is life. So I'm going to see if I can buy some cookies.
Stevie, we appreciate you. We love you. Most importantly, thank you for hiring. We got a lawyer here.